Well, hi, entrepreneurs. What would it feel like to build a thriving business and then retire your husband and relocate your family to Europe and continue creating from your zone of genius? Well, that's exactly what Michelle Rohr set out to do, and she did it. You're going to love this interview with Michelle Rohr because she shares the real story behind her journey from aspiring entrepreneur to founder of the Secret Owl Society, where she's generated over $1 million in sales while staying true to her values and creativity. So if you're an entrepreneur building your business from home, this episode, this interview is just packed with insights, and you're going to learn how Michelle's deep commitment to personal development really helped her take 100% responsibility for her life, and how that shift ignited massive change in her business and mindset. So you're going to learn how Michelle also gives us a behind-the-scenes look at the systems and tools, which are really very interesting because these are tools that help her stay focused and organized. And she's what you call a Notion power user. I don't know if you know about the platform Notion, but she explains how the way you use Notion reflects the way you think and how she's turning this philosophy into an upcoming course. And I know I'm going to be signing up for that one. You're going to love hearing about her unique, inspiring way she set up her workspace. Yeah, her workspace is in her bedroom, and yet she set it up to support her with her current creative goal, which is making 100 videos. This conversation with Michelle really touches on entrepreneurship, minimalism, self-awareness, and really the power of choosing platforms and strategies that truly serve you. I think you're going to love everything she shares with us. She also shares the belief that challenges make us stronger and more self-aware. And when we operate from that place, clarity really becomes inevitable. Plus, she offers must-read book recommendations, so make sure you write those down. And she reveals her brilliant strategy for building a business around 1,000 true fans. Now, don't miss this formula. Keep watching until you come to that formula, because this simple yet powerful idea might be exactly what you need to shift your growth into high gear. So let's dive in with Michelle Rohr. Hi, Michelle. It's so lovely to meet you and have you here on the Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home series. Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to chat.
Yes, and all the way from Portugal.
Yes, Portugal.
Yes. I actually have interviewed another entrepreneur in Portugal as well, which
awesome.
They're called the Unretirees, and they live in the south of Portugal.
Porto is more north.
Right. Yes. So as an entrepreneur, you've been an entrepreneur for how many years?
Oh, it feels like my whole life, because even before I started my online business, I would babysit, I would sell things, I would do all kinds of different things. But I officially started my own business around the year 2012, and yeah, I'm still here.
I know. It's amazing. And I know I've followed you, and I've been in some of your classes. I've ordered a lot of your courses. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But tell me about your daily routine and your productivity and how you work around having a family and living in Portugal.
Well, the biggest factors in that are, number one, I retired my husband from him having a job when my first son was born, even though that was really scary, and I technically didn't have the money to make that like a no-brainer choice. It was kind of if you stay home, then I'll be able to make more money choice. And that's what I did. So that's a big factor. Is right now being able to talk to you means that he's out there taking care of the kids. Yeah. So that's a big part of what helps me be productive. And it's summer now, so the kids are home. And so we're having to do that juggle a bit more.
Right.
But when the kids are in school, that's a big chunk of the day where I can, just focus, and he can focus on what he wants to do. So right now, productivity looks like just getting up and checking in with each other and saying, okay, here's what I need to do today. And he's like, okay, here's what I need to do today. And then we will figure out what the day looks like. So in the morning, I focused on the kids and he did what he needed to do, go to the gym, journal, all the things. And then we switch and I do what I need to do while he focuses on the kids. So a big part of productivity is, if you have kids, is just communicating so that everyone gets their needs met. And then the other side of that is I am big on using Notion. I use Notion to organize everything. In fact, I have a program coming out called Sacred Systems to teach women how to do this for themselves too. Because if I did not have my brain living inside of Notion, then things would be a lot harder than they need to be. So that's a big piece of what helps me be productive. I just systemize the heck out of everything using Notion. And it's allowed me to run my business without the need for a team. I don't have anyone helping me, or other than my bookkeeper who looks over my taxes. It's just me and Notion.
You're not the first person I've interviewed. There's a lot of people using Notion right now, and I think it's very, very popular. And I haven't used it myself, but it sounds like it is a great program. And is there any specific way that you use it for working with clients, or how do you use it like daily?
I use it in, well, I could tell you so many ways. I use it this way and that way. But the heart of it, because I decided to really get into it at the beginning of last year. I've been using it. I learned about it almost when it first came out, but I didn't really commit to it at the level that I use it now until the beginning of last year. And it coincided with the decision to stop tolerating dysfunction in my life. I realized that I had this habit of tolerating a certain level of dysfunction, and that was not really true to who I am. And I just went all in on eradicating that. And as I did so, I was able to really see how Notion could serve me. Because if you go into Notion with a habit of being a little bit unorganized, a little bit messy, a little bit just throw it in there and hope for the best, then Notion will drive you crazy, because Notion is a reflection of how you think. Like, are you thinking in a way that's very systemized and organized, or are you thinking in a way that's very messy and anti-organization? And I think at everyone's heart, like at the heart of everybody, they want to be organized. But because we don't really have that, like it's a training, like you have to train your brain to operate that way. And until you do, you just default to tolerating a certain level of dysfunction and disorganization in your life and your business. And it really can drag you down and drag you back. And so when I decided to address that, I was able to really jump all in on Notion. And I was like one of those kids you hear about where when they're little, they will, take apart the radio and figure out how to put it back together. I felt like I was that kid. I would take apart Notion and put it back together and tear it apart and put it back together over and over and over. And I enjoyed that. It helped me really understand how I could make it work for me. And so at the heart of it, the way I make it work is kind of like if I were to simplify this down to the basics, it boils down to you have your goals, and then you break down those goals into their daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly components. And then that becomes your routines and your habits. And then your projects, are related to your tasks, and it just all relates to each other, because in Notion, you can make everything relate to each other. So basically, you can organize it in a way where just by checking off your habits and your tasks and your routines, everything else automatically gets done. Like everything you could possibly want to achieve automatically gets done, because everything has been related to each other. There's no orphaned, nothing floats out by itself in the ether. Like everything is anchored into a bigger picture. And that's all working behind the scenes. And so the way I explain it to people is Notion is like the masculine container for my feminine energy. Because so now that I've set up this masculine structure, organization, systems, order, now that that's set up, like I can come in and just be this ideas and fun and frolicking and da 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 da. And it just goes together so well where I can honor my intuition because I act on intuition. Like I am big on just feminine energy. But when you marry that with the masculine container and structure, it's just like rocket fuel. And so
it sounds
I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I use Notion.
No, I mean, it sounds like I really need to take that course. So get it going. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your workspace setup, okay? Because you've been an entrepreneur and I've seen you in and out of different workspaces. And tell us a little bit what you need to have a workspace setup.
Well, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. So as you can see, my bedroom is also my office. And I actually changed it around a couple days ago. I moved the desk to be in front of the window because even though it worked better with how much space there is in the room to be the desk to be over there, I realized, wait a minute, that doesn't serve me as an entrepreneur. Like I need to get this bedroom to work as an office as well. And I have a goal to make 100 YouTube videos in the space of the next few months. And I needed better lighting. So I'm always looking at what can I do to set myself up for success and not just in like the set yourself up for success,
Right.
banner. It's like a really digging into that because when we don't make it easy for ourselves to do what we need to do, like we're just adding resistance on top of something that's already challenging. So I'm like, how can I make it super easy for me to like turn on the camera, do a video? And it's like, okay, my desk needs to be in front of the window. And then I have other things I do where the room is always clean. I have a nice candle. I have my art supplies over there so that I can take a break. Like before I did this call with you, I actually painted a whole painting and I already hung it up in my dining room this morning. So I have everything I need to honor myself as a whole human being. So even though, this is my workspace and I get work done, it's also my bedroom. It's also where I make art. It's also where I read my books. Like I think when it comes to workspaces, it shouldn't just be designed for getting work done. It should be designed for honoring yourself as a whole human. And that's what actually makes you better at your work.
I love that. I think that's so important for entrepreneurs because, there are times when you can't have a specific space and you have to adjust to where you need to be, and honoring that is really a great way to look at it. I love that. I think the entrepreneurs who are watching this are going to really enjoy that and giving yourself permission to do that as well, right?
It took a while to like really, like with my hobbies, it took me a while to like get to a place where I can just allow myself to enjoy it. I had to like heal a lot of inner stuff to get to this place. So I know people are probably listening to this interview and thinking, oh, that would be nice, but there's nothing I really enjoy. I bet that if you dig into it, there's a lot that you could be experiencing and enjoying in your day-to-day life. You don't need to wait until you have a successful business to do something fun. It's like we need to be doing all the things we want to do now. And that is what helps you have a successful business. So anything that you're postponing until after I have more time or after I build my business, bring those things into your world now, because that will make you a better entrepreneur. And even if you don't feel a connection to it, the work is to become someone who can be in love with taking that time for yourself. A lot of us have not been practicing that. So at first it's going to feel very uncomfortable and like you're wasting time and you don't really like it anyway. But that's just a lot of stuff that we have to clear out because we've been through this era of no, productivity looks like this, building your business looks like this, success looks like this. And I think we're in a time now where people are detoxing from that, and it's just going to feel very uncomfortable, but it needs to happen so that we can just get back to being human again.
Well, that's the saying. You have to feel uncomfortable to be uncomfortable, to be comfortable. You have to feel uncomfortable to get to that place where you feel comfortable. And if you're willing to do that, as you said, do the inner work on yourself. If you're willing to do that, that's where you really make a lot of breakthroughs, right?
Yeah. And that discomfort is just the old identity. The way I see it, it's just the old identity leaving your body. So it's a good sign.
Yeah. So do you have any challenges, Michelle? Talk a little bit about how you overcome some challenges.
Life has never not been challenging.
I know.
In fact, I tell people business is easy. Life is hard. I've one of the things I've realized is that life doesn't get easy. You just get strong. It doesn't get easier. You just get stronger.
Yeah.
So there's always challenges because I'm always, trying to become a more self-aware person. And with that, you start to see things that the older version of you might have tolerated, might have not really noticed. But as you do the work of being an entrepreneur, you start to see things that the old you didn't see. And then you have to do something about it. So right now I actually feel like I'm in a point where my challenges have given me a little break. Because I did so much work on facing all the dysfunction. Like I said, anything that didn't serve me, that rubbed me the wrong way, I just really went all in on addressing it. And I feel like I'm in a time now where I'm just enjoying the honeymoon phase of a new identity, of getting to the other side. So at this moment in time, I don't really feel a lot of challenges. But the most recent challenge was basically a week ago, where I was committing to create a new program. And every single time I make a new program, and I teach this to other people, there is this dark night of the soul, this point in the process where you have to let go of the beliefs and the identity and the patterns that do not want you to evolve. And letting that go can feel like you're dying. And I always say it's not you that's dying, it's your pattern that's dying. It's your ego that's dying. It's your protective coping mechanisms that are dying. And if you keep going, you get to the other side, and all of a sudden you're like a brand new person. And so when people work on new projects and they feel all of that resistance, they want to, if they're on the surface level, they want to say, oh, I feel all of this discomfort because what I'm working on is so hard. I don't understand what I'm doing. I don't know what I want to say. I don't know how I want to teach this. I don't know what do people want to, it's all external, but really all of that, if you look deeper and see, no, it's what you believe about yourself. It's that pattern you're still carrying around. It's that protective mechanism you're still carrying around. If you work on that, then all of a sudden, this thing you want to make and bring out into the world becomes so much easier, so much more crystal clear. And so that it really is the work of, creating anything for anybody, I think. And I just went through that again last week, and now I'm on the other side and everything's great.
Well, I love the way you put it, the dark, the dark night of the soul. And I just actually wrote about that in my newsletter. What keeps you going as an entrepreneur? You have to realize, because there are all those challenges and obstacles that entrepreneurs have working alone from home. It's just part and parcel of being an entrepreneur, I think, and finding ways, like you said, to overcome those sometimes little challenges, sometimes they're big challenges, and sometimes you want to give up, right? But you've got to keep, as you say, you've got to keep going, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We can't just clock in, punch some numbers into a spreadsheet and clock out. Entrepreneurs requires that you keep expanding outside of your comfort zone.
So the next question I have for you is about, and I know you're such a whiz at this, about technology and tools. Today as an entrepreneur, we have to learn all this different technology, and there's lots of tools out there. So what works best for you? Is there any programs, apps, or platforms that you would recommend for other entrepreneurs that work for you?
Well, I think every entrepreneur needs to find their tech stack. So whatever unique combination of different tools and software that is appropriate for where you're at in your business and what you need in your business right now. I think a lot of the times people will buy software that they're not ready to use, and they just kind of hope that because they bought it, they're going to make more money. So you have to really make sure that you are using everything that you have in your tech stack and that it's serving you. Otherwise, it just becomes an expensive mess.
Yeah.
I use Squarespace for my website. I use Teachery for selling my digital products. I use Thrivecart half of the time because I also can use Teachery to process payments, and then I'll use Thrivecart to process payments. It's really just a unique thing for me. I don't recommend that people just copy my tech stack. And then I have Flowdesk for email marketing. And then I use a few smaller tools for like customizing my website more, or I just signed up to Claude AI to help me with cleaning up my content. So the main things that I think anyone needs to look at is email marketing, a website, and a place to sell your digital products if you're a digital product seller. And like I said, I use Squarespace, Teachery, and Thrivecart.
Right. Okay, great. And I think
and
it's
Flowdesk.
To be able to choose the right one that works for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, you have to kind of shop around, try free trials, and I believe that it's not just about which one is the best out there. It's about which one you enjoy using the most.
Right.
Because even if a platform has more features and has more, people using it, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to use it.
Right. Yeah. And I think, diving in, I know you introduced me to Teachery years ago, and it's a great, great platform. I think, and you have just mastered it. You've dived into every aspect of it, right? And I think we'll put a lot of that information below as well for people who want to look into that. So talk to me now about, your collaborations and connections and how you as an entrepreneur stay connected, especially now that you're living in Portugal. And, I know at once you were very involved with the Female Entrepreneurs Association. So tell us a little bit about your strategy to grow your business through connections, because it's really important for entrepreneurs to make sure that they have a plan in place for this.
Well, the first part of my business had a lot of collaboration and working with other entrepreneurs. And I actually feel like I'm in a season now where I'm just kind of like focusing so much more on myself that I've dialed that back. So I moved from the US to Portugal. And with that, whenever you move to a new country, a lot of, you have to kind of like reconfigure everything. And so I kind of had to go through a season of just like re-establishing, who am I? Where am I going? What do I want? And I just needed to focus so much more on myself. So I'm still kind of coming out of that, where I don't feel this desire to partner up in a big way with anyone right now. I'm just so focused on what I can do as a solo entrepreneur. And I think that is kind of relevant right now, actually. It was true in the past where you did need to kind of partner up with other people to increase your impact, quote unquote. But now, because we have so many tools that make so many things more easy, it's almost like people are being forced to look at the fact that, wait a minute, before you jump into a partnership or a collaboration, are you even taking advantage of what you can do yourself.
I love what you said, because there are times in an entrepreneur's life where it's all about visibility, really, isn't it? Because there are times in your journey as an entrepreneur where you need those collaborations. And obviously you've passed that, point. And is that because you are now focusing in on your YouTube channel? And you said you have 100 videos to do as one of your goals. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm at a point now where I want to see what is possible for me by myself, because it's forcing me to look at how am I supporting and meeting my own needs instead of reaching out and looking for outside help to meet my own needs. Because I think, like I said, we live in a time now where the tools that we're using, the AI resources out there, there's so many ways that we can support ourselves to take off a lot of the mental load of being an entrepreneur so that we can just focus on being human. Like the fact that the reason I have this challenge to do 100 YouTube videos is because there's no reason for me not to be able to do that. Like the way I film a YouTube video is really scrappy and quick and easy. The only reason I would not be able to do that is if I'm making other parts of my business harder than they need to be. If I'm making a task take 10 times longer than it needs to take because I didn't stop and put in a system, or I'm not utilizing AI properly. Like, I think we can actually be a lot more visible more easily on our own. But if we're afraid, a lot of people are afraid. They'd rather I'm just going to work on my website. I'm just going to figure out this new tech thing. And a lot of that I can see, because I coach women, and I'll tell them, okay, you need to do this. And then they'll start to do it the hard way. It's no, you don't need to do it the hard way. Just go on AI, ask a quick question, and it's done in 5 seconds. And they're like, oh my gosh. It takes away the busy work that has been keeping us from just going out there and being visible and being, getting on YouTube, getting on your podcast, doing the marketing. There's no reason why you can't 10x that all by yourself.
I totally agree. I think that it has changed over the years, and I think it is time that the tools are out there. It's available to you. It wasn't before. There was a lot of more collaboration needed, but now there's, you can just get out. I mean, I say that to my clients, when are you going to start your YouTube channel? And they say, I am going to do it, but it's getting to it. And it's important for entrepreneurs to be aware of the getting to what you want to do, because there's so much more out there now to help entrepreneurs really be visible and grow their business, right? What do you do for professional development for yourself? And if you have the latest book you'd like to recommend, or a podcast you'd like to recommend, share with us that. I've
kind of turned down the personal development and business development stuff. I used to read business books and personal development stuff all the time. And now I'm in a place where I just read novels. I've read 30 novels this year and 0 business books. It's been great. I do have a couple of people that I pay to be in their community, and they're very appropriate for my journey right now. One helps me do the inner work, and the other one helps me with my money mindset, and not just mindset, but actually being good with money. That's another thing that I didn't learn as an entrepreneur, all of this focus on making money, but really there's not a lot of literacy on, okay, what do you do with that money? Right. Because otherwise I just need to make more money, need to make more money. And as entrepreneurs, you can make a lot of money in a short period of time. But if you don't have financial literacy, you're just creating another job. And it's a big deal.
It's a big deal for women entrepreneurs, especially.
Yeah. So in the last couple of years, I've learned how to invest money. I've learned how to grow money. I've learned how to make my money make money. And so right now, that's the professional development I'm doing, is just focusing on financial literacy, not just, oh, you need to save a little bit of money out of every paycheck. It's like, no, I want to be able to put myself in a position in the next 5 years where, because I invested, I don't even need my business to make money anymore. So that is what I'm professionally
That is
developing.
huge advice for entrepreneurs, huge advice for entrepreneurs, because, and it's about knowing when to invest and what to invest in you, in your business, and taking care of and taking that money that you have earned and where you put it, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. I'll be looking forward to seeing information more coming from you on that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, if anyone is interested, the book I recommend you start is called The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. If I had read that book at the beginning, well, it didn't come out at the beginning of my journey, but if I had read that book when it came out, I would be a multi-millionaire right now.
Okay. Excellent. We'll make sure we put that recommendation in the description. A little bit about you and self-care. What do you do to take care of yourself?
I am big on this because I feel like anyone that does the inner work, you have to up your level of self-care. If you're expanding outside of your comfort zone, you have to also be expanding your level of self-care. And I think entrepreneurs, we don't hear that. And so what we do is we'll expand outside of our comfort zone and it feels like crap. And so we treat ourselves like crap. And then that doesn't help you expand. And so I am big on self-care because it plays such a role in being an entrepreneur. If you do not have a good self-care habit, then it's like this confirmation to your brain that you're not really worthy, that you don't really deserve it. And as long as you believe that, that's going to affect your business. You're going to not be able to take on the opportunities and receive the abundance that's available in entrepreneurship if you're going through life thinking that I don't deserve to take the time to put lotion on my elbows. So like one of the things I tell women is like, lotion your whole body. Like that'll make you money. Take the time to put lotion everywhere. So I have I actually set this up recently. We have an extra bathroom and I just set that whole place up to be my area for a whole self-care routine. I see doing arts and crafts as a form of self-care, and I don't wait till I'm done working to do arts and crafts. I do it as I'm working. I'll take breaks, and that's another thing is I take breaks. So one of the methods I use some of the time, not all of the time, because it is hard to stop every 25 minutes, but the Pomodoro method where the bell goes ding and you have to take a 5-minute break, that 5-minute break is like a self-care break. I have a stepper next to my desk that I use and I turn on some music and I do that for 5 minutes, or I just walk around the house. I always make sure I eat really well. I go out for walks. I get enough sleep. I use blackout curtains. Like I'm always upping the self-care because I believe self-care will make you rich. And lack of it will keep you poor. So
I love that. I love that. And I'm living in Portugal. I know in some of your videos and I think in your newsletter, you talk about life in Porto. And I think that sharing that part of you is wonderful because it does show you are an entrepreneur, but you also, have a life and a lovely life. And I think it's so important as entrepreneurs that balance is we take care of that balance, right? I also wanted to ask you to share a little bit about how you went off social media, because I think that is an important part of what's really helped you build your business.
Yes, I quit Facebook and Instagram a few years ago, and I still use YouTube. Pinterest drives a lot of traffic for me still from old pins I pinned like 10 years ago. They still drive traffic. People find me through Google and AI even. Like people will say, I found you through ChatGPT. And I'm like, I have no idea how that works, but that's great.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so I don't use Facebook or Instagram. And what I tell people is that if you're going to post on a platform for people to find you, I recommend doing it on a platform that is search engine driven, not social media driven. Because, like I said, I have pins on Pinterest that are 10 years old and they're driving thousands of people to my website. I have videos that are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old that are still driving traffic from YouTube. If I were to post on Instagram, a couple days later, that post is irrelevant. I need to keep posting.
Exactly.
So,
and you're the whim of the algorithm, right?
Yeah. Then you're trying to serve the algorithm and get your numbers up. And you lose sight of the fact that this boils down to people being able to really connect with you. And I think that being on video is one of the best ways to do that. And it's one of the scariest things for people. But it's also, if you can get over that fear, it's the most easiest thing you can do, because now you don't have to create a perfectly curated, pretty Instagram feed. Now you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
And just press publish. And now that video can be bringing people into your ecosystem for years.
Right.
And I've always focused on, it's not about numbers. I don't care about having 100,000 YouTube subscribers. Exactly. It's about having 1,000 true fans. And the fastest way for me to have 1,000 true fans is by showing up as Michelle.
Exactly.
And so, like I tell people, the math of it, and it's more important now than ever to come back to the truth of 1,000 true fans, is if you have 1,000 true fans, those are people who will buy anything you make. And that is a business that is successful, because 1,000 people who buy $100 worth of things from you, that's $100,000 per year business if you only make $100 worth of stuff in a year. If they buy $1,000 worth of stuff from you, that's $1 million business. And so the focus needs to be less about how do I get more followers on Instagram, and the focus needs to be more, how are you creating 1,000 true fans? Because then it will be, you can't run away from the fact that the way to do that is to just be yourself. And the most direct way to give people the feeling of being able to be in the room with you and get to know you is video. So, yeah.
Fantastic advice. And I actually was going to, next question was, what would be one piece of advice or a key lesson that you'd like to share with entrepreneurs? But I don't know if you can top that one, but do you have anything else?
I went to an event in 2020 before the pandemic broke out, and it was hosted by a man named Mastin Kipp. And in that event, he was talking about things I never heard anyone talk about before. He was talking about trauma. He was talking about the nervous system. He was talking about codependency, like all these things that I've been in personal development. I've been in the entrepreneur world. I've been around millionaires. I've never heard anyone talk about this stuff. Like, all I've heard was like, think positive, be, motivation, and I never heard anyone talk about the real work of being an entrepreneur. And that's the reason I was never really able to grow past a certain point. And I brought that to him. I was like, I have all the connections. I've been doing this for 10 years. Lots of people know me, but I can't make more money than what I just need to pay bills. Like, I can't make past that survival point. And he looked at me and said, it's your trauma. And I listened, and I started working on it. And in the next 4 years, I made $1 million. Whereas in the 10 years prior, I made just enough to survive. If he did not give me that advice, I would still be here trying to make just enough to survive. So my best advice for people is look at your trauma. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, that's brilliant. And there's a lot involved there, but I think for anybody who's watching this, Mastin Kipp, he's still around, right?
Yeah, he wrote a couple books, Claim Your Power, Reset Your Nervous System, or something like that. It was his teachings about how we all have these self-protective patterns because of childhood trauma. We will put in place a pattern to protect ourselves. And if we're not aware of that, we'll bring that pattern into adulthood. So my pattern was I would put myself last. And guaranteed that is going to cap off your income. So for me to go past a certain point of income, I had to learn how to put myself first. So my income goes up to the degree that I make it safe to put myself first. And so there's these 11 different patterns, and we all have like a combo, and you got to figure out your combo, and you got to start going in the opposite direction of the pattern, because what's happening is your nervous system is using the pattern to feel safe. And if you go in the opposite direction of the pattern, you're showing your nervous system that you're safe without the pattern, and then the pattern can start to leave. Now you can start to be someone who doesn't need to people please, who doesn't need to put herself last, who doesn't need to feel like, oh, I'm so confused, I don't know what to do. Like, these are all coping mechanisms that we use, and they keep us from making money in business. So if you want to dive into that, his book that talks more about that is called Claim Your Power by Mastin Kipp.
Okay. Fantastic advice for entrepreneurs. Thank you for sharing that. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's now tell us a little bit more about your business, who you serve, where people can connect with you, your latest products. I know you have a latest course that I've actually signed up for.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about that so people can connect with you, and we'll be putting a lot of those links and just in the description below.
Well, my business is called Secret Owl Society. You can find it at secretowlsociety.org. And this was the byproduct of me deciding 12 years ago to take 100% responsibility for my life. And so my business is literally just the byproduct of that decision. I didn't start it because I'm like, I want to help so-and-so. I started it because it's just an act of self-expression. So my business is a place where you just get to see me make whatever I want to make. So if you come to Secret Owl Society, you're going to see courses on Squarespace, on money, on personal development, on all kinds of things. And that's actually what I teach. I teach that if you just focus on yourself and solve your own problems and share the solutions that you figured out in the act of solving your own problems, share those as products that other people can buy. That is enough. I don't niche down. I don't say this is the one thing I do for this one type of person. I make whatever I want. And I believe that the people who come into my ecosystem, they come because they resonate with me. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to keep growing. I'm going to keep evolving. And in fact, that's what I'm teaching in my new program, Easy Peasy Email Marketing. I'm giving people the permission to just be a human again. Be a human who is on a journey. You're still figuring things out, and all you can really do is share your journey. Like you need to be an expert, and you need to, solve this pain point for this person and this customer avatar. I feel like that has really held people back, because the truth is we're just human beings. We're on a journey. We got a lot of stuff we're trying to figure out, and the most authentic thing that we can do is just share. And we will attract people who resonate with our journey. And that does build a business. Like a business, when it boils down to it, is just people following and buying from other people. And so the more that we can just honor the fact that we're just all people, we're not these fake experts, the more things can start to work better. So that's what I'm teaching in Easy Peasy Email Marketing. I'm pre-selling it right now and then doing a live cohort in August. And I'm super excited for that.
I'm excited for it too, and I love everything that you have created over the years. And I hope people will take the time to go to the Secret Owl Society. Thank you so much for being here today. It's so lovely to chat with you all the way in Portugal, me in Hawaii, and sharing your journey that has really been a very inspirational journey for so many women around the world. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that you've been along for the journey as long as you have, and let's keep going.
Okay, let's keep going.
Let's talk about your tech stack. what's in your tech stack? Because Michelle reminds us how essential it is to build your own personalized tech stack. A tech stack is where tools that work for you, wherever you are on your entrepreneurial journey. That's what's really important. And I hope you caught her bold move where she quit Facebook and Instagram, now focuses only on search-driven platforms like YouTube, Pinterest, Google, and AI. Why? Because content that compounds over time helps build a sustainable business. As she says, you'll hear her talk about how pins from Pinterest that she used years ago, people are still finding them today. So I have a question for you today. If you had to choose just one search-driven platform to grow your business, which would it be? Drop your answer in the comments below because I'd love to hear what platform is your choice, and maybe we'll find out what other people's platform choices are as well. So Michelle also gives us a powerful reminder about financial literacy. You can have a strong money mindset and earn great income, but without financial literacy, that income won't take you where you want to go. So her approach to growing money and how to invest in yourself and your business is really a must listen for any entrepreneur. And then there's her formula. Wow. I hope you watched that part. If not, go back and watch it, where she says 1,000 true fans times $100 equals a $100,000 business. 1,000 true fans times $1,000 of goods sold or product sold equals $1 million business. $1 million business with 1,000 true fans. And she says built with one true fan at a time. I've followed Michelle's work for years, taken several of her courses, and just enrolled in her latest course. But what I admire most is her consistent message to all entrepreneurs. And that is what she says, the magic is in you. So make sure you check out the Secret Owl Society and all of Michelle's links in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more interviews coming up with entrepreneurs. And I'll see you on the next video.